Once upon a time, nestled in a wide valley surrounded by whispering forests and a gentle river, there existed two villages, Eastbank and Westbank. These villages had once been one, sharing joyful festivals, trading goods, and even exchanging families through marriages. But like a river that slowly carves stone, the passage of time had eroded their unity. Small arguments over crops, livestock, and fishing spots had hardened into major disputes. Words like stones cast into a pond created ripples of resentment that spread and deepened over the generations. Soon, the river that had connected them became a barrier, a symbol of their growing hatred. To hide from the painful sight of the other village, the villagers built tall walls along the riverbanks, turning their backs on their former friends and neighbors. Children were raised hearing tales of how the people on the other side were nothing but enemies. Years spun into decades and the villages grew, prosperous and self-sufficient, yet forever divided. One spring morning, a wise old carpenter named Elder Rowan arrived in Eastbank. His beard flowed down his chest like a frozen waterfall. His skin was as weathered as a tree's thick bark, and his eyes twinkled with ancient knowledge. He bowed to the village chief and offered his services. "I am a carpenter by trade," he said, his voice like the rustling of autumn leaves. "I build houses, fences, bridges. Give me wood, and I will build whatever you desire." The chief of Eastbank, a burly man with a heavy frown, eyed the old carpenter suspiciously. He had argued with Westbank's leader just the week before, and the memory of their bitter exchange still stung. "Build me a wall," he demanded, his voice echoing the growl of a bear. "A wall so high that I never have to see the faces of the people from Westbank again." Rowan simply nodded, his gaze steady and calm like a mountain lake. "I will build you something worthy of your request." For days, the villagers of Eastbank watched intently as Rowan worked beside the river. He did not begin building upward towards the sky as one would for a wall. Instead, his structure stretched out over the water towards the distant shore. Children pointed and whispered, "He's building a bridge." Adults shook their heads and muttered amongst themselves, "What has he misunderstood?" But Rowan remained silent, his hammer ringing with a steady beat as he laid each plank. Slowly, a wooden bridge began to take shape. Its beams were crafted with such precision that they fit together perfectly, forming a structure both sturdy and graceful. Finally, the day came when the bridge was complete. The villagers of Eastbank crowded the riverbank, their eyes narrowed with suspicion and hostility. Then, something unexpected occurred. The people of Westbank, drawn by curiosity, also gathered on their side of the river. Their chief, a stern-looking man with a heavy brow, stepped onto the first plank of the bridge. The Eastbank chief, fists clenched, ready to confront anyone foolish enough to cross, took a step forward, anger blazing in his chest. "I asked for a wall, not a bridge. Leave at once if you value your lives." But he never got the chance to finish his threat. For as he looked upon the bridge, he saw the Westbank chief slowly advancing towards him. The old carpenter's last customer had extended his hand in a gesture of peace. "Perhaps," he said, his voice trembling slightly, "it is time to end this. The bridge Elder Rowan has built shows us that even after years of anger, a connection remains. Let us be brothers again." A heavy silence descended upon the onlookers. Time seemed to stop as the two chiefs stared at each other, the weight of their village's shared history pressing down upon them. Then, very slowly, the chief of Eastbank reached out and clasped the other's hand. Tears welled up in his eyes, not tears of sadness, but tears of relief, washing away years of anger. In that moment, the bridge became a symbol of unity rather than division. People from both villages crossed over to meet lost relatives and friends. Children ran and played on the solid planks, their laughter echoing across the river. Merchants exchanged goods and stories, and the sounds of their voices grew louder than the whispers of the past. Soon, the two villages declared a great festival of reunion, a celebration of their renewed bond. Lanterns adorned the bridge that night, casting dancing shadows on the river and transforming it into a magical path connecting two hearts once more. But when the villagers turned to thank Elder Rowan for his wise creation, the old carpenter was nowhere to be found. Yet he left behind a message carved deep into the final plank of the bridge. Words can be walls or bridges. Choose how you use them. The villagers pondered his words. They realized that just as a carpenter uses wood to build different structures, their words, too, could create division or bring people together. They had chosen to use their words to build walls for so long, but now they would use them to build bridges. And so, the villages of Eastbank and Westbank rebuilt not only their relationship with each other, but also their way of speaking, becoming gentler, kinder, and more mindful of the power their words held.